COP stands for Conference of Parties, but in short, just what is COP? Because that is the famous term or the popular term, that is COP 28, COP 27. So currently COP 28 means 28th year of this yearly conference. It's the supreme decision making body of the convention. So what was this convention? Let's say what is the work of that? First is reviewing the implementation of the convention and any other legal instrument that of the COP adopts for the previous COPs as well. Second, take decisions necessary to promote the effective implementation of the convention, including institutional and administrative arrangements. So basically, COP is a political and bureaucratic meeting, I would say, for different countries or different parties. Review the national communications and emissions inventory submitted by the parties. So this is basically the function of as a supreme decision making body. It is attended by the representatives and parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, also called as UNFCCC, established in early 90s. So that was it goes back to 1992, Rio de Janeiro, when it was one of the most successful summit, the Rio summit that we called 1992. One of the outcome of that was Agenda 21, and from that conference itself, the UNFCCC originated, and from 1995, these COP meetings are happening every year. So around 70,000, I guess, the number this year, number of people joining in the COP 28. And they discuss about all these issues and what are the solution, how do we do it, so everything. In short, yeah, so first was meeting in 1995 in Berlin, and then every year it has been going on. So which were the successful? So I would say the Paris was one of the most successful COP 21, and which gave us this 1.5 degrees Celsius aim to reduce the global warming. And after that, unfortunately, it is not having any successful deliberations as of yet, means the consensus of all the parties. It's not as of yet any constructive or implementable solution hasn't been met as of yet. But this year, COP 28, we are meeting at UAE, and I'll just quickly share every year what happened. So whenever there is a COP meeting, so before that conference, one document is shared. I'll just open that file. One document is shared by the country which is hosting it. Okay, so this is shared from COP 28, and I'm sharing it on screen. So this is COP 28 overview. This is before starting of this conference, as you can see. Why this is important? I'm sorry. Because global stocktake will be taken for the first time after the Paris Agreement, as it was discussed in the Paris Agreement. So global stocktake, or GST in short, will provide a comprehensive assessment of progress since adopting the Paris Agreement. This will help align efforts on climate action, including measures that need to be put in place to bridge the gaps in progress. So this stocktake process is a 5-year process, and that had started in the year 2018, and now this is a year where it is going to taken for discussion, right? Then COP 28 UAE presidency will work to ensure that the world respond to the GST with a clear plan of action. So as we know, global stocktake will be the central part of the discussion for this COP. By hosting COP 28, the UAE is focusing on practical and positive solutions that drive progress for the climate and the economy, as well as provide relief and support to vulnerable communities. The UAE intends to make COP28 highly inclusive, reflecting the views of all geographies, sectors, and constituencies. So this is the intent set by UAE this year, and in short, the basic details of the COP are given, like institutional background of this COP, that is the United Nations Earth Summit held in Rio 1992, established the UNFCCC. which provided a legal framework for international cooperation to combat climate change. COP stands for Conference of Parties. These are high-level conferences that bring together states, regional organizations, and non-state actors. There are 198 official parties comprising 197 countries plus the European Union. Any meeting between the parties in a convention is officially a COP, although the acronym is more typically used in reference to the United Nations Climate Summit, an annual gathering and world's highest decision-making body on climate issues. The COP is responsible for the Paris Agreement, the landmark climate treaty of 2015, and this is the 28th meeting under the COP. So over the time, it was limited to small group of government negotiations, but later on today, as we can see, it attracts tens of thousands of political leaders, business people, sectoral experts, climate activists, and members of public. So this number is around, I guess, around 70,000 to 1 lakh people that gather over here. And why it's important is there are always, as we all can agree, that there are difference of opinions or different requirements. Like developing countries would require some fund, and as it has been discussed in Paris Agreement itself, right? So 100 billion fund that has to be climate fund has to be issued, but it is not yet the funding has not yet been received from the developed countries. On the other hand, developed countries' point of view is that we are still struggling with a lot of issues like war and that in their imminent future, and they will not be able to fund it that much. So these are some of the difference of opinions are there. So in that scenario, how to have joint declaration that every country agrees to the declaration, or they participate in a constructive way to provide a solution. So that's something very important in such kind of discussions.